Well, the golf majors season is just around the corner, and April sees both the Masters and the Chevron Championship here in the Americas. Scotty Scheffler and Nelly Korda walked away victorious from those tournaments in 2024 and are likely to be the ones to watch again this year. In the women's game specifically, though, also keep your eye on our next guest on this sporting planet. Lauren Coughlin finished tied third at last year's Chevron Championship, fourth at the Evian, and was even part of the winning Solheim Cup, too. Lauren, thanks for joining us here on this sporting planet.
Yeah, no, Todd, thanks for having me. Happy to talk golf and Chevron and the Masters coming up.
All right, first of all, how are you feeling heading into the major part of the 2025 season?
Yeah, it's been kind of a weird start to the season. Just, I felt like I kind of got going and then had a few weeks off and now kind of getting back into it. So, I'm excited to kind of get back into the meat of the season and just get to play some golf.
Let's start with the Chevron Championship, and that's first up. And obviously, you finished tied third there last year. Was there something that came together that week that made you feel I can definitely replicate this?
Yeah, I think, it was kind of the first time I made some putts when I really needed to, especially kind of coming down the stretch when I was in a little bit of contention. Nelly was a few ahead of me, but I was kind of the one of the only ones that was kind of around. And so kind of making putts when I needed to, it was kind of the first time that I've really done that. And so I think it kind of gave me a lot of confidence for the rest of the year going forward. But yeah, I mean, my parents live 15 minutes from there, so it's kind of like a home game. I get to sleep in my own bed, and it's just a really really fun week.
Does it help that you'll be heading back to the same course this year as well? I mean, confidence wise?
Yeah, definitely. I proved that I can play pretty well on that golf course, so it'll just be kind of see, what the course conditions are like. If is it just as firm, is it a little softer, what's the temp, the weather. A lot of things can go on, but yeah, it's always really nice to kind of go back to a place that you've had success before.
Well, you're definitely not sneaking up on anyone. You seem to be the hot topic right now in women's golf. So, after the Chevron last year, you secured your first two LPGA wins at the CPKC Women's Open and the Women's Scottish Open before going on to help the U.S. regain the Solheim Cup. What was it about 2024 that made it a fantastic year for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, getting my first win and then getting to represent my country on the Solheim Cup team, an hour from where I live in the state of Virginia, it was just a super special year. I had a lot of friends that have never really gotten to see me play golf. Were able to come to the Solheim Cup, so it was just it was so much fun, and it'll be hard to top.
Do you feel like your life has changed in the last 12 months with all your success and obviously more media attention? I mean, look at you. You're on this sporty planet.
Yeah, I've getting asked to do a lot more interviews than I have before. But overall, I feel about the same. It's just I enjoy playing golf. I enjoy playing competitive golf, and so just trying to get back to doing that and not let some of the other stuff kind of get in the way.
When you're reflecting on 2024 over the winter, did you set any target goals for 2025?
Yeah, I mean, I want to win again. I want to win a major. International Crown is a really, really cool event that I'd love to be a part of. Getting to represent my country again and it being in Korea just seems like it'd be so much fun. So that's a big one that I'm really looking forward to and hoping that I can make that team. But other than that, just trying to get back to doing what I did last year and a lot of the, just being me and enjoying playing golf.
Not to give any away secrets, but is there anything you've been working on specifically with your game over the last few months getting ready for the season?
Just tinkering on some wedges, trying to get
Mhm.
those kind of figured out. That's not necessarily one of like the strengths of my game. Really trying to figure out bunkers. And I've put a lot of work in that, and I don't think necessarily the stats have shown that they're improving, but I know I'm hitting the shots a lot better. I just haven't quite capitalized on making the putts. But um, yeah, those would I would say be the couple of things that I've been working on this off season.
And just quickly on the Solheim Cup, it was announced recently that Angela Stanford will be captain for the 2026 edition in the Netherlands. What do you make of her appointment, having worked with her as an assistant captain in 2024?
Yeah, I think everybody kind of knew that she was going to be the next captain. She's very tough and she loves the Solheim Cup, and I think she's going to be an amazing captain. They kind of asked a bunch of people from the team, who they thought, and I think everybody pretty much said Angela is who the next captain should be. And so, yeah, I'm really excited, and hopefully I'll get to be with her in the Netherlands next year.
And I've got to ask you this: have you been watching much of the TGL, the New Indoor Golf League? And do you think it's only a matter of time before it becomes basically a mixed men's and women's event?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I've watched pretty much every one. My husband and I bought a place in Jupiter, and so kind of found we were able to go to one, and that was super fun. So yeah, I've been able to do it and watching it, and I would love to, if they asked me, I would definitely do it.
How would you rate the state of the women's game right now? When we spoke to Stacey Lewis in December, she thinks that it's not in the best place, particularly with no resolution yet on the cards for the split in the men's game. What more still needs to be done to improve media coverage, especially for the women's game?
Yeah, I mean, our TV deal has to get better. Is really, I don't really think there's any way around it.
Yeah.
You have to get eyeballs on us, and the only way that has happened is if they put us on TV more. And I think it shows that people will watch if it's on
Yeah.
TV, not just in golf, but in, women's basketball. They've invested a ton of money in putting them on TV and ESPN, and now they have some of the biggest stars in college basketball or in the women's college game, and obviously Caitlin Clark. So I think it shows that when you invest and put us on screen, good things happen.
I got to ask you on a personal note. You grew up in Virginia. You went to Hickory High School, which initially, when I saw Hickory High School, I thought you might be from Indiana and you were in that famous high school from the movie Hoosiers. Not the case. And then you went on to UVA. What was it about UVA that drew you to that program?
Yeah, so I mean, I love sports, and so I wanted to go to a big, Power 5 school, and I ended up actually trying to commit to a couple other schools, and no one really wanted me. And Kim Llewellyn, the head coach at Virginia, kind of convinced me to kind of be a preferred walk-on. Basically told me that, she saw a lot of potential in me, and that, if I worked hard, I could earn my way on a scholarship, and that's what I did. I redshirted my first year, and eventually, like by my fourth year, by my third year I led the team in scoring average, and then by my fourth year I was on full scholarship. And I just, at the time, they were one of the top schools women's golf wise, and I wanted to go be around people who were better than me so I could get better and see what they were doing. And yeah, I mean, it just had checked a lot of boxes. Again, I love sports, and they're very good at sports.
Well, let's be honest, for those fans that are watching this sporting planet around the world, the University of Virginia, they don't let dumb kids in. So that's probably why I didn't go there. And it's a really nice school. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful campuses in the world. Did you have any feeling towards those coaches that said, we're going to pass on you after you won your first event? Were you like, how do you like me now?
Yeah, definitely in college when I won ACCs my last year. I kind of remember being like, I was beating one of the girls that was able to go to school that I really wanted to go to. And so that kind of felt really good. And yeah, I mean, I think it just, everything happens how it's supposed to. And I ended up exactly
Yeah.
where I was supposed to be with the people.
Lauren, tell me this. Is there one thing you're looking forward to above all others in 2025?
Yeah, I think just getting back and seeing how I can play and seeing if I can kind of get in my bubble and see if I can, do any better than I did last year. It's gonna be hard, obviously, with results. Winning is something that isn't easy to do, and so I would love to win, but I also want to just focus on trying to get my skills better and just again just do what I've been doing every year, which is just trying to get better. And if that means I win, I win. But if not, I'm just trying to make sure that I can get better.
Lauren, we appreciate your time. We know you're busy. Go get your practice rounds in, and we wish you the very best of luck.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks. Lauren Coughlin, ladies and gentlemen.